While Nashville is known for its vibrant music scene, friendly locals, and a booming economy, it's not for everyone, and sometimes it can take some adjusting. So before you pack your bags and head to Nashville, here are the reasons why some people regret moving to the volunteer state. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jennifer Gramling. I'm a real estate agent here in the Nashville area, and we explore all areas of Nashville. We do city tours, neighborhood tours, talk about the cost of living here, all things related to moving to the area. So if that's helpful to you, be sure to subscribe. And also, like I said, I'm an agent in the area, so if you have questions at all about moving or relocating, be sure to reach out to me. You can find all my contact information in the comments. You can call, text, email, however you want to get in touch, and we can get all your moving questions answered. I have tons of clients just like you relocating every day, and I love it, so be sure to reach out. Okay, so what are some of the reasons that people might regret moving to Nashville? Well, here are some of the ones that I found. Number one would be the high cost of living. Nashville is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and with that comes a high cost of living. Housing prices, rent, and living expenses have increased significantly in the recent years, with the influx of people making it challenging for some residents to have the quality of life that they were hoping for when they were moving here. Some still have the misconception that coming here from other affluent states, that they can come and buy something here that's 10 times the home at half the price. And while this might be true for some areas of Tennessee, in others, like Nashville, the cost has gone up so much that it can be harder to find a home that checks all the boxes for some buyers, especially in the recent past. Some may have had to compromise, especially with the frenzy of buying that was going on in the past couple of years with a super low inventory, and some moved here with the hopes that their parents could also move close. But depending on what area they chose, it may not be financially possible for some of those parents to afford to be close to their children at this point. So these are all definitely things to investigate prior to moving, but luckily with the housing market moving back to a more normal market, there are now more options for buying, and you can take your time and find the home that fits your budget and needs. But cost of living has definitely increased over here in Nashville. With inflation to boot, it can be a lot. Okay, number two would be lack of an ocean or mountains. So many of my clients, as you can imagine, move here from the West Coast where oceans and mountains abound. Of course, we don't have an ocean here in Nashville or mountains, but we do have some really other great outdoor activities, and those things are still really close. But I get it. I moved to Colorado from East Tennessee, and I missed our outdoor activities so much. And I would hear everyone saying that they moved to Colorado for the outdoor activities, but for me, they were just different. I missed the incredible lakes of East Tennessee, the water skiing, lake life. That was such a huge part of my growing up. And while there were other great outdoor activities in Colorado to take advantage of, I missed the ones that I grew up with. Lakes in Colorado are pretty tiny and not at all the same as Tennessee, so I get it. When people grow up on a beach, surfing, and that whole culture revolving around that, I'm sure that they miss that a lot. Hopefully, though, they can come to appreciate all that we have to offer here in Nashville. Just like East Tennessee, we have lakes for water sports and fishing. We have rivers you can kayak and canoe, and you can paddleboard. The ocean is just a 45-minute flight or a 6.5-hour drive down to the Gulf Coast of Florida, with emerald blue waters and some of the best vacation spots in the US. You want to check out Seaside, Florida? It's the cutest vacation town ever, and most of Nashville descends there on every single break, and then it's really only about 3 to 3.5 hours to get to the Smokies, where you can hike, fly fish, even snow ski. It's not Colorado snow skiing, but it's snow skiing. And there's tons of hiking in Nashville too. Even though it's not a technical mountain, there's lots of hills to hike. You can still find those challenging hikes and off-road bike paths. And then when you get to go to the beach, when you get to go to the mountains, you won't take that for granted. You'll just need to make it a point to plan for those times. Okay, number three would be the weather. Again, a lot of my clients move from Western states where it's a lot drier and more temperate. I do also have a lot of clients moving from the Midwest and Northeast who may actually appreciate our weather. But if you're one of the ones who's moving from somewhere that it's 70 and sunny and dry every day, then our weather could be something that you need to get used to. I'm sure you know our summers get fairly hot and kind of sticky. They're not anything like Florida hot and humid, but definitely more than our friends on the West Coast. And our winters can get cold, in the 30s with an occasional cold snap where everything freezes. But once you get out of those 3 or so months of the summer with the higher humidity, everything feels so much drier. It doesn't really feel like year-round humidity to me. The rest of the year feels really, really nice. Honestly, the spring and fall is so mild and wonderful, and the winters, we really just get a dusting of snow and a few rainy days during the winter as well. But again, if you're used to that really temperate climate, that handful of months where it's hotter and and more humid, it might take some getting used to. Okay, number 4 would be missing friends and family. So we have clients moving here from all over, moving for many different reasons. Some are moving here for a job, some to be close to family, and some because of how our state is governed. But look, if you're moving from somewhere where you're really established and you have friends and family back home, it can be hard to move away from them. It seems like, though, that many of our clients, it's not just them that's moving, it's their parents, their siblings, and friends, which is really cool to see. Whole groups of people moving and relocating together. But not everyone gets to have that luxury, and it can be hard to feel at home right away when it hasn't been your home. This is why it's so important to give yourself grace and give yourself time. It usually takes at least a year to get established. When I moved here, granted, it was COVID, everything started locking down about 6 months after I moved here, but my house was so quiet, and I was used to it just always being pure chaos with tons of friends and my kids' friends, and my house was always so loud. And for a while, it was so quiet here in this house. But someone told me that it should take right about a year, so I held on to that, and that's exactly what it did. Right around that year mark, my house started to come alive again, getting louder and louder and feeling more and more like home. We have made some of the best friends here, myself and my kids, and wouldn't trade this move for the world. But it's important to remember to give it a minute. Okay, number 5 will be the road situation here. So a couple of different things on this. Number 1 will be road construction. Nashville's expanding and growing rapidly, just like we said, which means it's taking a toll on our roads. And while they're trying to keep up with the infrastructure, that means there's a lot of road construction going on. All around town, on highways, on the back roads. Really just everywhere, as you can imagine. Some of the smaller towns, especially with just one road or a couple of ways to get in and out of that town, those can get kind of jammed up. And as you can imagine, if they're trying to expand those roads, that's going to cause even more traffic, which is kind of a bummer. Of course, down the road, this will be beneficial, but sitting in the traffic right now sure doesn't feel like it. And then second, just driving on some of these country roads can be kind of scary. If you take a look at one of these roads, and this is how a lot of the roads can look at night, when it's dark, there's no street lights, you're on this windy road with no shoulder. Even during the day, it can be a little scary. You can run into a lot of these roads in many parts of the town, and that's not for everyone. My daughters have had to learn to drive on these roads, and it's a little disconcerting to say the least. But it's normal around here. These country roads were not meant for thousands of cars, so you just slow down, go the speed limit, and pay attention, and you'll be just fine. But it can take some adjusting to if you aren't used to it. Okay, number 6 is allergies. So our spring weather is beautiful and you have sunshine and rain, mild temperatures, but the same weather that allows you to go for a comfortable bike ride in March is also the reason you may be having bad allergies acting up in April. So this can be especially bad for those who have severe allergies. This is something you would definitely want to research before moving anywhere as much as you can. Now, it can be different for everyone, right? So some people have opposite allergies. So while some people may have worse allergies here, others may get better. I've used this example a lot, but my mom in Tennessee had really bad allergies, like having allergy shots once a week and still having symptoms. She moved away from Tennessee and they cleared right up. Me, on the other hand, mine were really bad in Colorado. They were really severe, but when I moved here, they cleared up. So you need to know what you're allergic to for sure. Those who don't research might be bound to move again to another part of the country where their allergies are more mild or gone. Living with allergies can be miserable, and this would be really unfortunate to move here and discover your allergies are unbearable. So do that research. Okay, and number 7 would be the bugs. So this is my favorite. If you don't like bugs like me, then it will take some adjusting. There are seasons here, right? And we should be thankful because our bugs are not as extreme as Florida with their giant flying palmetto bugs, Alabama with the huge bugs, but it's enough that if you are averse to bugs like I am, you'll want an exterminator and a screen porch at the very least. So right now there's a crazy amount of these crane flies out. I swear I don't remember these things last year, but this year they are aplenty. The great news is that in a couple of weeks, I'm sure they'll be gone, but then there'll be a season of something else, I'm sure. We have a few week period where these ladybug looking Japanese beetles, I'm still convinced it's just really a ladybug. They take over, they are everywhere, that it's sunny and bright. You would never think that these could be off-putting, but there's a lot of them. And again, it doesn't last long, but I'm not a fan. We also have a time when stink bugs are everywhere. They look like little armored robots. They move super slow and they don't hurt anything. But how do they find their way into places? I don't know. I vacuum them up and I take them outside if they happen to get in. But these are just a few of the lovely little creatures that you'll encounter here in Nashville. I have an exterminator that comes quarterly, and that seems to do the trick for my house. As long as they don't come inside, I'm good. But if you hate bugs, you'll see them here, so be ready. So those are my top 7. If I missed some important ones, leave them in the comments. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing. But again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All my contact information can be found below. We'd love to answer any and all of your relocating questions. We've got more city tours, neighborhood tours coming up, so be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.